Have you met the 2025 Mazda 3 with the manual transmission? That's what this is going to be. And I'm here to give you an engineer's perspective on what it was like to drive it for one whole week. So Mazda, they have a couple different flavors of this 3. You can get a sedan. This is the hatchback. You can get a turbo on this 2-liter engine. And I did a review on that, and that one's all-wheel drive. But this one's going to be front-wheel drive. There's going to be a slight difference because you can also get this with a different type of 6-speed, a 6-speed automatic, which they might be the only manufacturer making like a 6-speed auto. But this has got the manual, so I definitely had to give my thoughts on it, see what it's like for the week. And this Mazda 3 is going to come around $32,000. This is going to be the premium trim. It's painted in the gorgeous soul red with a bunch of salt on there. That's due to me. We've been dealing with some kind of Arctic vortex here in Michigan. So I've been driving on a lot of snow, slush, salty roads, ice. But this car did really well. The efficiency has actually impressed me as well, because most cars, the EPA, the numbers fall below that, especially for city driving like I have been doing. But with all the idling and city driving that I have done this week, the EPA's rating is at 26 on the city, 36 on the highway. But I averaged a combined 28, so that's excellent. Power in the Mazda 3 is a 2.5-liter inline 4. I feel like I had a slip of the tongue earlier saying it's a 2-liter. I had a 2015 Mazda 3 Sport base model poverty spec. That one had the 2-liter, but this one has a 2.5-liter, making 191 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque. And this is going to go up against cars like the Volkswagen, I guess GTI, since they don't have the Golf here, the Honda Civics. This is giving a little bit more sporty spin on the compact sedan. And I said it's sporty, but it's also luxurious as well. Coming up on the front, we have this integrated splitter down low, massive grille, sleek headlights, LEDs. Coming along to the side, we got the black wheels and tires. Up top, since it is a premium trim, it's going to come with the sunroof. So this is like a middle of the pack. You can get a premium plus trim as well. Got to have a black spoiler back here. In the rear, very stylish. I like the dual exit exhaust, and it's actually very spacious in this trunk. My 2015 3 was not this large or impressive in the luxury field, but got a nice deep hatchback, very practical back here. Very, very nice space. Getting into the rear seat can be a bit of a struggle if you're my height. I'm only 6 feet, and I got it set to where the doors lock every time I walk away from the car. But it's a little bit of a challenge to get in here. The headroom is going to be tight, but once you're back here, it's all good. Sitting behind myself, I got ample room. My legs can't rub, but we got ample space for a 6-footer to sit back here. Can 3 6-footers get back here? I would not recommend that. The head space, got about a 2 inches of head space above me. It's not, so the seat is okay for me, but if it's 3 people back here, this middle seat is very narrow. So we got 2 adults can sit back here or 3 small children. The front seat. Now just looking up in here, we're going to see a lot of premium things. So Mazda of today reminds me of what BMW used to be, premium and sporty. So you can see we have this brown perforation on the seats, leather, very comfortable seats, very soft. There's a lot of soft things, so actually let me touch on that. Got a lot of things that are leather wrapped from the door. The armrest down here is cushy and soft. Leather wrapped dashboard, that's soft. Armrest down here, that's soft. Leather trim coming around the center console. And when your knee rests on here, this has very soft leather wrap material down there. This is very good. From a driver's seat, all of your gauges are going to be easy to read. Got our HVAC controls here. It's clear, bright. We also have this multifunction controller, which controls the infotainment system, in which if you want to use CarPlay while driving with your physical touch, you got to enable that. I always forget what that is. It's buried in the menu somewhere. And the cluster, very simple, very easy to read. Analog gauges on the outside, but in the center, it's digital. You can keep it on a couple different things. Very clear to read. And something else that I noticed that I never see in any other car, but if you want to have your wipers on auto, see that little orange LED right there? That's on to let you know that you have that in the auto position. I never know what position the wipers are in. Is it off or is it auto? So if it's off, that light won't be illuminated. But if it's on, it will be illuminated. Wiping my windows. And speaking of wiping the windows, I noticed that, and this is one of the things I really like about this car, the water comes out the wipers themselves, which can come in handy. And I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. But putting the wipers on, salty out here, the water comes through the windshield wipers. I think that's an excellent design because we've been dealing with 0-degree weather up here in Michigan. So if the water's coming out the nozzles, that's going to freeze on the windshield. But it's not going to happen in this car. Very, very great integration. I did use the wireless charger. It's not bad at all. So I was able to gain 17% in 50 minutes, and my phone wasn't on fire. There's a lot of bad wireless chargers in a lot of vehicles out there, but this is one of the better ones. So my phone didn't get hot and it charged quickly. On this tank of gas, I've driven about 100 and I'll call it 180 miles. I reset it late, and you can see that I have 131 miles till empty. So you can get about 300 miles on the tank easily. Let's spin a few blocks in the 2025 Mazda 3. Yes, Mazda 3 is the actual name of the car, not just 3. It's a Mazda 3. No space between Mazda and the 3. It's my notification to buckle up. I heard you. So a couple of different things while I'm sitting here. Visibility, looking out the car over your shoulder. These are some small windows, got high belt lines. That meaning that where the window or the car comes up to a point to where there's not a huge window, less window in here, definitely in the back seat. So visibility is going to be that less of a boring design car. This Bose audio sound system in here sounds fantastic. It's really good. Let's get some revs up in here. So when we're driving, you're going to hear some aggressive sounding engine noise. That is fake engine noise in here. Sounds way better than what it actually is, but just to let y'all know. First thing we're going to do is test the turning radius, because you want to know how you can navigate this small, compact hatchback. Man, that didn't pass the test. But also, there's a bunch of snow overflowing. I would have made it, so I'll say it has a good turning radius. Not as bad as that Nissan, what was that, Versa that I had? That thing was terrible to be such a small car. And now getting on the moon simulator, going to see how rough or smooth it is. Yeah, so it actually soaks up the bumps really well. Great dampening on here. Very smooth ride. Handling on here is good too. So what I want to talk about first and foremost is this shifter right here. Now, I mentioned that this car reminds me a lot of BMW, and that's going to go down to this shifter as well. So being a Miata owner, I thought this was going to be the greatest shifter that I have ever put my hands on in a car in this segment, but it is not. The shifter is on the vague side of things. It's just like a BMW shifter, so it feels rubbery when I say that. The throws are very precise, but actually engaging in gear, it just feels rubbery. I personally don't like that. I like the more mechanical feel, or just the solid feel. It's kind of, I don't know, I don't like that part about it. And then the clutch is kind of soft. It's on the very light side. I don't like the release point of where the clutch bites at. It can be a little bit on the difficult side to drive smoothly at slower speeds. I guess a flywheel would help that, but for me personally, just getting in here and just driving these cars like I do, the clutch, it's a very light clutch for a daily driver. And tinkering around with this wireless charger, it looks like the phone can pop out if you run over some bumps at a higher speed, but I personally haven't noticed it yet. But it's very shallow, like that mechanism. My phone can slide over the wireless charger, just placing it in there. Now let's see what it's like taking off, because that turbo was fast with the all-wheel drive and the turbo. adequate for a daily driver. Strong enough for what it is. It's not gonna be no ping to the cushion. Just a regular daily driver with a little bit less than 200 horsepower. I'm about to hop on the freeway, see what it's like to merge. Getting up to speed. Let me change my view. I like to see the digital speedometer. I don't know when that became my preference, but digital speed readouts, that's what I like. Got up to speed really quick. 6th gear coasting. And we do have cruise control, adaptive cruise control. Let me see what that'd be like real quick. I personally like to put this at the closest distance that it can be at. But let's see how the car slows down. I got it set to 80, and we're obviously doing less than 80. So what I like about what I'm seeing now, it didn't just slam on the brakes. It let itself off the accelerator, so I won't confuse the people behind me by seeing brake lights like, oh, there's a hazard up above or in front of us. But nope, it just eases off the brake or eases off the accelerator, as it should. So I like an adaptive cruise control like that. Then as I get out of this lane, it's on the accelerator immediately. As soon as it sees that car out the way, it's going to go up to speed. As far as road noise, it's not too bad. I don't hear too much road noise. The sound in here is good. Got a head-up display, so you got your digital speed readout to where we got some redundancy down here. But I still like to focus on what's in the cluster. I'm looking at my speed readout. Now we're about to get off the highway, so let me do some downshifting. To the gear we're going to get in. So this is going to be the highlight, the handling. So I noticed this across all the Mazdas, even the CX-50, and this 3 definitely handles extremely well. The steering feel is great on here. It takes a curve so nicely. That's going to be what you're going to enjoy most about this. It's luxurious. Very luxurious for this segment. I think it's at the top of the class personally. And the handling and steering feel. A lot of companies got away from the steering feel. They're all vague, which is a shame. A little pumped in engine noise to help us out. But yeah, this car handling is a dream on here. So that would be one of the best selling points. You want a luxurious ride, day to day, nice sound system. Got heated seats on here too. And if I were to turn it to automatic mode, the heated seats dial back as the temperature gets up to your desired selected temperature. So I'll turn it down so y'all can actually hear me, because those fans on here start to blow a little bit loud. It's got like all your safety features, blind spot. That's what this is on the screen. When somebody's in my blind spot, it'll show like some little sound waves. I don't know why they chose that out of all things, but that's what it shows when they're in the blind spot. So what do I think of the Mazda 3 overall? It's a very, very compelling package. The only thing that I would change, I have like really no negatives about it. The clutch needs a little bit more feel, but I understand from a daily driver perspective, they keep clutches very light on cars that aren't sports cars. But the shifter though, it needs like a bushing, like an upgraded bushing at least. So, and in the aftermarket, maybe somebody makes one, but it definitely needs one of those. Other than that, this is the total package right here. The efficiency, it looks good to most people. I'm not a huge fan of the style another 3. I absolutely adore the style another 6 that is not in production at the moment. But this will do many people really well. And if you get the 6-speed auto, I have no gripes about that at all. It's adequate. Sometimes I think people over-engineer the automatics with 9, 10 speeds. Like, why do you need that in the car with just a regular car? You don't need, that's too much. But this car, compelling package. The price is very fair, $32,000 for all these features, and you can bump it up to like 35, 36 if you want the turbo with all-wheel drive. So they make a 3 for a lot of different people, and I think this is still a leader in the segment. From my point of view, I still think it's top of the class when it comes to a total package, especially luxury. I like the features, luxurious feelings in here, and this is going to tick that. So that's all I got to say about that. It's going to conclude the video of the 2025 Mazda 3. So let me know what you guys think about it. If you have one, let me know what you like and what you don't like about it, because I definitely like to see if what I'm saying compares to what other people say. So with that said, you all remember to drive safe, and I will catch you all in the next video. No peace out yet, because I'm about to handle this curve. This car, I'm telling y'all, handling is so good in here. Mazda's handling, or just the steering feel too. You don't feel that in most cars nowadays. But yeah, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Peace out.